once again to go back into the archives. Welcome to Vintage Games here on the NHL Network. I'm Dan Pollard. Today we take a look back to April 20th of 1985 and the Smythe Division Final between the Winnipeg Jets and the Edmonton Oilers. After dropping Game 1, Winnipeg needed a big road win in Edmonton if they were going to stand a chance to upset the heavily favored Oilers. Winnipeg had been successful on the road during the regular season. The team put together a .600 winning percentage en route to the division's second seed, right behind those mighty Oilers.
37-year-old Andy Van Hellemond, a native of Winnipeg, is the referee tonight with Wayne Bonney and Ray Scapanello as the linesman. And Brian Hayward returns to the Winnipeg goal tonight after missing the last two games with a pulled groin. And at the other end of the ice, Grant Fuhr makes his fifth consecutive playoff start. He's been chosen the #1 star in all 4 previous games. It is certainly hockey weather here in northern Alberta. It has been snowing throughout the day, and a heavy coating of white stuff covers the parking lot just outside Northlands Coliseum, as well as most of the province of Alberta. The game underway as it is deflected into the center ice area. Picked up by McLean. He shoots it in. Randy Gregg back of his own net. Up along the boards for Mark Napier. To Messier. Messier slap shot. That hit the side of the net. Loose puck back of the Winnipeg goal. Anderson and Steen bump. The puck comes loose. Napier spins around, and his shot is directed to the corner by Hayward and then deflected into the center ice area.
Don, it has to help Brian Hayward, the goaltender, to get some action early. Even though Messier missed the net, there still was that flurry. The goaltender gets that movement early in the hockey game.
At the Edmonton line, the Oilers now bring it out. A long shot wide of the goal. Tim Waters in behind the Winnipeg net. We're approaching the 1-minute mark of this opening period. This is Game 2 of the Smythe Division Final, and the play is whistled down on an offside at the Winnipeg line.
Glenn Sather during this hockey game will double shift Wayne Gretzky quite a bit. He'll be on the ice with that fourth line, which will have Crucial Niski on the wing, and that's a demotion for Mike Crucial Niski. He wasn't very involved in the first game. Glenn Sather will go with 3 lines as much as possible. When he puts the fourth on, Gretzky will be there as the centerman.
John Davidson, we talked about changes that Sather is making. Pat Hughes in the lineup for the first time in the playoffs.
Well, as Gary said the other night, maybe the idea of Pat Hughes being snarly from not playing too much would be enough initiative for Pat Hughes to get going. Pat Hughes has the bump and grind to be effective.
Well, I just think they have to also get more mileage out of just two lines, the Oilers. They have to get 4 lines going.
Loose puck in that Winnipeg zone. Semenko picks it up, spins around, the save is made, and Gary Curry was looking for the rebound. And of course, the fans react every time Semenko is on the ice.
Well, he's a real favorite here, of course, and he has limited skills. But one thing about Dave Semenko, he's going to give you an honest effort every night. One thing we noticed in Game 1 is that there has not been very much action in front of the net. The only time it happened, it resulted in a goal. One thing about Semenko, he will get in front of the net whenever necessary.
Good job by Dave Semenko. There was the style of Brian Hayward, too. He'll stand up, and he's a challenging type of a goaltender. He doesn't beat himself. That's what he said made him a better goaltender throughout the season. Not many goals through the legs, or else not many goals on the short side either.
Randy Carlisle, who celebrated his 29th birthday yesterday and was treated to, as you saw, those pies in the face from his teammates, shooting it down the ice. He gets it again at the line. A shot, hit a leg in front. Here's a backhand shot. It dribbles through to the goal mouth, and Grant Fuhr makes the save.
On that last shot on goal, Grant Fuhr had no trouble with it. Grant Fuhr was saying today that he's never felt better in the net. He's so confident. In fact, watching them practice today, he frustrated his own teammates. I saw Mark Napier bang his stick into the glass, the plexiglass, after Grant Fuhr had robbed him. Grant Fuhr he's not allowing his own players to score on him in practice. He's so hot lately.
John, Grant Fuhr reminds me a lot of Bernie Perrant. He worked so hard in practice, he would defy you to score. And also, it was good for the goaltender, but also good for the forward, because he had you put your best shot to get it by the goaltender.
So you didn't get too many, huh, Bernie?
Absolutely.
From the face-off, Picard at the line. He winds up, fires it wide. Carlisle from the other side. Directs it to the corner. He gets it again. His weak shot knocked down, and the Oilers bring it out to center ice, but they're unable to control it, and Picard takes over. And it's fired over the glass and out of play by Fuhr.
Well, it's important for the Winnipeg Jets to play with a lot of emotion, a lot of intensity. And also when they make contact along the boards, which they did pretty good in game one, the players have to fight their way in front of the net. He says, look, we got the guys that can do it. To a player, they all agreed after game one, we weren't bad, but certainly not good enough to beat the Edmonton Oilers.
And playing in his first playoff game, the rookie Taglianetti from Framingham, Massachusetts, calls himself a nuts and bolts style of a defenseman. He grew up near Boston. He says he likes that Boston Bruin style.
Quick shot by Andrew McBain, knocked down, and Pat Hughes breaks out on the right side. Pass intercepted by Scott Arneal. He dumps it back down into Edmonton territory. Along the boards, Harry Turnbull bumping there, taking it to the boards, and they hold it for a face-off. Steen is out there with Mullen and McLean. It's Carroll with Krushelnyski and Hughes for the Edmonton Oilers. Low, cross ice to Fogelin, his weak shot. Slides into Winnipeg territory, then it's fired back out to the neutral zone. We've played 2.5 minutes of this opening period. Ryan Hayward playing it around on the glass. It's loose in the Winnipeg zone, now brought out by McLean. McLean in across the line, long shot, knocked down by Fuhr, and Lowe starts back.
Don, you can see immediately the Jets are going to shoot the puck more. During game one, much too fancy in that Edmonton zone. They're going to go to the net with a shot. McLean just did it.
Along the boards, Melnick pinching in from the point. He managed to keep it in. Now Babbage gets it to the line, not out. Carroll with it. He takes a shot, to save by Ryan Hayward, in goal for the Winnipeg Jets. They bump along the boards. Both teams rather tentative so far in the hockey game. Now Carroll trying to pry it loose. Looking out front. It comes back to the line. Melnick winds up right on, and it's deflected high. Willie Lindstrom goes back to the net. Feeds it out front, a deflection, and it's steered away by Hayward. Back to the line, Gregg with a shot. It is deflected wide. Now the Oilers applying pressure. Melnick flips it back to the net, and finally it's fired down the ice by Dave Allen.
Well, that's the kind of pressure that the Oilers would like to do, not only from Gretzky's line and Messier's line, but the other two. Excellent shift by Carroll.
And as Carlisle touches it, icing is charged against Edmonton.
That was an awesome show.
Awesome.
Hey, would you mind?
No problem.
Me too. So, are you the bass player or the drummer?
I'm not in the band. I'm just here for the Bud Light. Who's pen? Johnny!
Refreshingly smooth. This calls for a Bud Light.
Who's Todd Schischler?
The NHL has been filled with moments that turn players into legends.
Behind the net to Sanderson. Oh, they are!
And bring the sports world to a standstill.
Gretzky scores! He did it! He did it!
With the NHL's Greatest Moments DVD, hockey fans of all ages can enjoy these unforgettable feats and hear from the game's greatest to ever play. Available wherever DVDs are sold or shop NHL.com.
A dandruff shampoo feeling this good? New Head & Shoulders Ocean Lift. The formula revitalizes your scalp and gives you healthy-looking hair. Its invigorating scent is quite unexpected. New Head & Shoulders Ocean Lift. Dandruff relief.
Harvey's introduces the Ricky Burger. One flame-grilled patty covered with real Canadian cheddar. Topped with the works. Mustard, ketchup, mayo, relish, onion, lettuce, tomato, and pickles. It's Canada's best-tasting burger. That's a big burger for a little man. At Harvey's, there's a burger with your name on it.
Harvey's makes your hamburger a beautiful thing.
Bad windshield replacements could make your windshield leak. Next time, trust the experts at Apple Auto Glass.
Apple Auto Glass.
Barry Long mentioned that Laurie Boschman has been an excellent face-off man, and he has to continue getting those draws. But then we have to do something once it gets it in the offensive zone.
From the face-off, the puck goes to the boards, and Willie Lindstrom starts out. Lindstrom has it poked away by Carlisle. It's loose at center ice. Arniel is spun around. Here's a chance for Lindstrom. He has it poked away by Carlisle again, and then is taken in against the boards. Carlisle trying to move out against Lindstrom, having some problems, and now freezes it for a face-off.
Randy Carlisle, along with some of the other players, starting to push and shove. Again, once you see McClellan and Hunter on a line, and they're fighting for the puck in the corners, you know, so you're going to get something going as far as pushing and shoving go. McClellan's had a pretty good run here in the playoffs. 4 games they haven't lost. And his racehorses won 2 in a row while the playoffs have been on down in Calgary. So he's really happy with life these days.
You had an interesting discussion with him about the knee brace he's been wearing.
He took the knee brace off, and I said, "Jesus, I feel better." And he said, "Yeah, much quicker." I said, "Doesn't the tape bother you?" He said, "I know, I don't even tape it anymore." So he's throwing all the medical problems aside as far as his knee goes, and he's much quicker on the ice.
You noticed on Randy Carlisle, twice he broke up plays, once just over center ice against Lindstrom, and then in his own corner. He's normally noted as an offensive player. He can also do the job defensively.
You bet, and that's confidence for the other younger players back there on defense with him.
15:38 remaining here in the first period. Fired up along the boards for Nil. Having problems against Coffey, then he gets some help. It's deflected into the center ice area. Lead pass into the slot, looking for Nil. It bounced away from him, and the Oilers start back. Messier into the center ice area, loses it to Boschman. Boschman brings it in across the line with Arniel, a shot. It's deflected off the stick and up into the crowd.
You know, it's interesting talking to John Muckler today. He said, you know, last year's hockey club, we just scored a ton of goals. We weren't very good defensively. And the so-called experts said that we had to tighten up defensively. This year, we're not scoring many goals, but we're doing a better job defensively. You can't win.
Now here, the right winger on the Jets is supposed to stay with Coffey. Hill's a right winger. Look how he's shadowing Paul Coffey. Look at him look over at him. He's going to try and catch him now as they're coming up the other way along the ice surface. But the job of Winnipeg to try and neutralize Paul Coffey is for the right winger to stay with him, and that is a perfect replay of it. Well done. That shows it real well.
Wilson, Smale, and Lundholm. Lundholm gets it back to the line for Babbage. Quick shot deflected high. They tried to get some traffic in front of the net to screen Grant Fuhr, and they almost succeeded. Into the slot, Smale, quick shot, rebound. As Fuhr made the initial save, Babbage was spun around, couldn't get a stick on it.
Boy, that was excellent penetration by the Winnipeg Jets. They got the shot at the net, and then 2 wingers converged looking for that rebound. That's the way they have to play against the Oilers.
Loose puck, fed out to Lundholm. Lundholm going back to the net, trying to get it into the slot for Wilson. It's poked away, and the Oilers come back. Lead pass for Napier in across the line. Napier in front of the net, a deflection, and it just went wide. Gretzky tried to take that feed in front. He was tied up and unable to deflect it, but it went off the body just wide.
Interesting 2-on-2 at that end of the ice. Gretzky was one of them. Taglianetti stayed with him. Grant Fuhr again showing his acrobatic style in the goal. Even though Winnipeg were penetrating, they still hadn't penetrated Grant Fuhr. He's right on top of it again. Watch his style. Watch how he's aggressive and quick around the goal crease. His shoulders, look how quick he's up and down. That is just built on quickness. Marvelous to watch Grant Fuhr in goal.
The goaltenders really work on that in practice too, John. Some of the drills they go through so that they can do that in a game.
It's called the butterfly spring like that. Grant Fuhr, he can do it as well as anybody else.
Paul McLean out of his own zone. Taken out of the play. Good check by Kevin Lowe and Lee Fogelin. Moving it up along the boards, loses it. Steen couldn't get a shot away, and the Oilers come back, led by Gretzky. With Semenko and Curry for Curry's shot saved, and the puck at the side of the net covered up and held by Brian Hayward.
Again, Don, you saw the style of Brian Hayward, a very calculated goaltender. And you know, when you move out and stand up like that, it helps your defenseman. Picard and Carlisle know that they can force a shooter to the outside. They know that the goaltender Hayward's going to stand up and cut the angle down. Now watch him move to his left. There he is. Takes everything away from Curry. And look at the defenseman pick up the other players there in case there was a rebound or a pass.
You know, Gretzky talked today about the coverage against his wingers. He said, what I have to do is beat somebody one-on-one, and that'll certainly open it up in the offensive zone. Watch for me to feed my defensemen a lot.
Rink wide pass as it's brought in across the line, and Smale lost control of it. Semenko now along the boards against Picard, dumping it to the neutral zone. Paul McLean for the Jets, looking for Mullen. The play is broken up. 13:35 remaining here in this still scoreless first period. Doug Smale gets that loose puck to Carlisle, to McLean. McLean looking for a winger. Quick shot. And that was high and off the glass. Back to the line for Thomas Steen. Steen working to the corner, trying to feed it out front. He's knocked off the puck, and Yauri Curry starts back. Curry had the opening goal in game 1. Across the line, drop pass. Gretzky moving in. He lost it, and it's fired down the ice.
Don, you'll notice Gretzky and Curry still on the ice. Semenko's not. Semenko will not go out much longer than 30 seconds a shift. He knows he can't afford to stay out longer.
Barry Long had mentioned that he expects Boschman to take a lot of the face-offs in his own end of the ice. And there he is.
He also expressed some concern about tiring Boschman out with all that work in the face-off circle. Penalty coming up. Boschman will be going off as he upset Kevin McClellan.
Well, Boschman will get a chance to rest now. It all happened right off the face-off, and he pulls the feet right out from Kevin McClellan. Watch this as Boschman gets control here. Now watch what happens as he goes after McClellan. Right there, he reaches out and pulls the legs out from underneath Kevin McClellan.
And now this is a time when the Edmonton Oilers really have to get their act together in their power play. They haven't scored a goal in 16 tries during the playoffs. This has really been a concern to Glenn Sather.
Well, they're -1. They've given up a shorthanded goal.
That's right.
It's been a major problem, and I think in talking to the coaching staff, the problem on their power play is simply not enough movement in the offensive zone, Gary. And they feel that there's so many players on that Edmonton team that are very, very quality stars as far as hockey players go, and they won't listen sometimes to their coaching staff. They get stubborn and won't move.
Allen hammers it off the boards and down the ice. The Oilers with the man advantage. Boschman off for hooking.
Well, they like to play on the outside and get the guys to the side of the net. They don't like to put somebody in front. Perhaps it's time for a change. Get big number 27 out there.
Glenn Anderson is forced back to his own line. He can motor. In across the line with Messier, trying to feed it into the slot. Benny Lundholm, who scored a shorthanded goal the other night, drops it off for Ron Wilson. Wilson with a slap shot, it sails wide. The Jets, the top team in the playoffs in scoring shorthanded goals. They've got 3, 2 in the final game against Calgary and the one the other night. Loose puck picked up by Messier. Out front, Coffey unable to get a shot away, and it comes back to the line. Coffey's got it again. Huddy from the other point with a shot that's gloved and held by Hayward.
Well, you can see there nobody in front of Brian Hayward. He simply reached out with a glove, held onto it. Maybe it is an idea to have Semenko in front. You also have to be careful on how much you're going to play Dave Semenko, though, Gary, because, you know, he plays with Gretzky. If he's going to play most of the shifts, it's going to be tough on him. He's not used to a lot of ice time.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to try, because the way things are going now for the Oilers, they haven't capitalized, you know, going the way they have been going. So why not try a change?
Let's watch this face-off. They move Huddy up to the boards to the right of Krushelnyski and Gretzky on the point for the draw. Now remember that Winnipeg got that shorthanded goal when Gretzky was on the point for the draw last game.
Krushelnyski spent some extra time after this morning's skate working on those draws. Puck along the boards for Thomas Steen. Now Carlisle trying to get it out, unable to do so, but Picard, trailing the play, shoots it down the ice.
Now Barry Long had mentioned that we're in a very aggressive checking team when it comes to killing a penalty, so the Oilers are going to have to make very quick passes and movement in order to beat us.
That's the Kuiper quick pass. They score! Gretzky!
Wayne Gretzky only had 8 shots on goal during the first 4 games of their playoffs. Watch how he fakes the goaltender, makes him open the legs. Right there. Now he slides it through the legs. He faked the shot, made Hayward move. Hayward's not set. Watch his legs. Watch his feet. He hasn't stopped. He's not set. And Gretzky, being as smart as he is, slid it through the legs. A good play by Wayne Gretzky.
Of course, that's the key to scoring goals, is get the goaltender out of position so that he doesn't have that stationary position. And it's exactly what Gretzky did.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I'm a PC. What's with the big boy clothes?
Oh, this, yeah, I just got back from a meeting, so.
Why? Why were you at a meeting?
Yeah, I do work stuff, too. Come on, I've been running Microsoft Office for years.
Microsoft Office work stuff. Oh, boy.
What?
Oh, I knew this day would come.
PC.
I just need to sit down. Oh, wow.
There's plenty of work out there for both of us. I don't know why you're acting like this.
Why go on? Just let me lie here and depreciate.
This is an important message for men and women ages 40 to 75. Please use the toll-free number to respond.
The cost of a funeral in Canada today can be more than $10,000. Yet the Canada Pension Plan pays a maximum death benefit of just $2,500, and only if you qualify. Without adequate life insurance, your family will have to pay for funeral costs and other final expenses out of their own pocket. If you agree that's too big a burden to place on your loved ones, call now for free information about Guaranteed Life Plus. This Guaranteed Acceptance Whole Life Plan costs as little as $5 a week. You cannot be turned down regardless of health. Rates never increase and you're protected for life. In case of accidental death, your beneficiary receives 5 times your coverage tax-free. If you'd rather leave your loved ones with fond memories, not bills and debts, call now for free information. You can't be turned down.
Call toll-free 1-800-443-1543 for your free information kit. That's 1-800-443-1543. Call now.
Dive into the season with the warmest Old Navy fashions, starting at $29.50.
Well, let me lay this statistic on you. That point for Wayne Gretzky was his 118th career playoff point. The Winnipeg Jets, without Dale Howardchuk in the lineup that is on the ice tonight, only have 117. Here's Gretzky in front for Curry. And what a save by Brian Hayward. There's also a penalty on the play.
Dave Semenko is going to get himself an elbowing penalty as he tried to do a little bit of forechecking in the illegal fashion.
So that goal wouldn't have counted anyway. The whistle blew immediately. Glenn Sather, hope you can't lip read, has a few unpleasantries to say to the officials. And Semenko will head to the penalty box.
We'll watch him in the offensive zone as he's forechecking on Picard. Picard had thrown it up the middle before Semenko went in and finished the check. So the check really didn't have any. Maybe Picard, well, actually, maybe Picard rushed it knowing Semenko was coming.
Hear the footsteps?
Now watch Gretzky open the legs of the goaltender, Hayward. Right there, put it right through nicely. He had nowhere to pass the puck. It's the only play that Gretzky could have made.
You know what Gretzky said last night when he got that empty net goal? He said, I went for the 5-hole. It may come in handy later in the series. It does on the first one tonight.
So the Winnipeg Jets now have the power play. 1-0 is the score. Fired deep into Edmonton territory. Kevin Lowe picking it up off the boards, trying to get it out of there. Babich at the line, working against Billy Carroll, but finally Carroll succeeds in getting it into Winnipeg territory.
The Oilers have the best penalty killing in the National League, only allowed 1 goal against.
Dave Ellett on the right side for Thomas Steen. Steen across the line, drop pass, Brian Mullen to the other side, McLean with that quick release, and Grant Fuhr came sliding across. Now it's Mullen, over to Allen. Allen takes the shot, saved by Fuhr. McLean tied up in the corner. Puck along the boards, McLean and Steen now move in against Carroll. Back to the line for Ellett. Ellett controlling it for Winnipeg. Takes the shot, deflected to the goal mouth, and Kevin Lowe plays it around the boards into the center ice area. Wayne Gretzky out there now as the Oilers make a change in their penalty-killing lineup. Laurie Boschman in across the line for Nil. Nil circling, looking for someone to pass to. The Jets making a lineup change. Screen shot knocked down in front, and Gretzky starts back. 36 seconds remaining in the penalty to Dave Semenko. For Yari Curry, a long drive that is gloved and held by Hayward. Now it's Carlisle. Rink-wide pass for Picard. Picard looking for someone to pass. Takes a shot, he scores! Laurie Boschman in front of the net. Now he was screening Grant Fuhr, and they have deflected it.
You know, it took 3 passes to get it out of the Jet zone. Every pass was in the skate, the ability of the players to move it up to their stick. Now Picard hangs on to it. Why shoot it? Nobody going for the net. All of a sudden, Boschman skates in front of Fuhr, and that's exactly what we're talking about. Distract the goaltender, set up a screen.
Watch Boschman in front. Grant Fuhr never even reacted on it because he simply didn't see it. His style is to go down on the ice usually. When he doesn't see it, that time the puck snuck right by him. And a very important goal for these Jets because it gets a power play going. The penalty killing has been so good for Edmonton, and the Jets need scoring badly. They don't have a player in the top 21 as far as scoring goes in the playoffs. Their highest point getter is Ellett. and he's a rookie.
So a power play goal for the Winnipeg Jets. Picard from Mill and Carlisle. At 10-17, the score is tied at 1 here at the Northlands Coliseum. McBain shoots it into Edmonton territory. We thought initially that perhaps Boschman had deflected it, but as you saw in the replay, he was doing the screen on Grant Fuhr, and it went between Fuhr's legs. Puck fired around on the boards, and it bounces away from Charlie Huddy. Huddy fighting with Turnbull. Turnbull comes up with that puck. An errant pass picked off by Napier in the center ice area. Now on the left side for Coffey. Coffey working in, having difficulty controlling it against Tim Waters. It's loose at the side of the net. Now it goes back of the goal. Out front, they score! Coffey! No, it's McClellan.
Coffey and Waters are mixed up. Actually, Coffey did a great job trying to control that puck before the Oilers scored to the right of the goaltender, Hayward. Two people ended up with him, both Lundholm, I believe, and Waters. And you see the result of that last tussle as Coffey and Waters are still on the ice. But forechecking really does it for Edmonton. You know, remember, Edmonton scored a goal in the first game right after Winnipeg had scored. Now they do the same thing again. Watch Coffey. Look at him control the puck. Strength. 2 or 3. Now you got 3 Jets in there. And 2 Oilers. That leaves everybody open in front because both Waters and Taglianetti, the defensemen, are behind the net. Nobody high in that slot area. And watch the Oilers just simply pick it up in front, wide open.
Oh, good play by McClellan, and that's the first goal by the 3rd unit of the Edmonton Oilers, being Hunter, McClellan, and Lindstrom tonight. But Anderson was still on the ice during a line change and will also draw an assist. But I'm sure that takes a little heat off of McClellan because you want to get some scoring from your 3rd and 4th units.
McClellan from Anderson and Coffey at 11:33, and Coffey and Waters are both going off 2-minute minors. Coffey had started that play as he worked in against Tim Waters. And although Coffey was taken out of the play, the puck did come loose at the side of the Winnipeg net. Here's a lead pass. Gretzky against Babbage. It's whistled down at the line.
Get into the spirit of the holiday season with General Motors Wish and Win event. You could win up to $10,000 towards your purchase or lease, or you could win your new GM vehicle instantly. Plus, you get the best coverage in Canada. Everyone's a winner during the GM Wish and Win event. So hurry into your GM dealer or retailer today.
The spirit of equestrian. Today at 12:30 on TSN. Brought to you by Rolex.
Mommy, what do you want for Christmas?
Oh, you don't have to get me anything.
Ding dong ding.
Really, Mom? What?
Nothing. Really, sweetie.
Ding dong ding.
This is what you want.
Ding dong ding.
Nice try.
People who take Buckley's for a cough know it's worth it. Buckley's. It tastes awful and it works.
Okay. We'll wipe the slate clean. We've never heard of this before. We'll approach it fresh.
Fresh start.
I'll be the new guy.
Okay, fresh start. Here we go.
Hi.
How are
I'm the
you?
new guy.
Good.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Here's what we got to do.
Uh-huh.
We got a box. We got to get it from here to Germany.
Well, that's impossible.
This is what I thought.
It doesn't have to be this hard. FedEx takes the hassle out of international shipping. Relax. It's FedEx.
So with both Waters and Coffey in a penalty box, 2 minutes each for roughing. It's interesting. Each team a man short. That leaves a lot of open ice out there. And Glenn Sather's elected to put Kevin Lowe on the ice. Now, Lowe had the problem with a severe Charlie horse. He must feel he's 100% because he's going to have to do a lot of skating with this much open ice.
Kevin Lowe for Gretzky. It's knocked away from him back into Edmonton territory. Now a pass to Yari Curry. Curry slap shot, a rising drive that goes off the glass and is picked up on the boards by Smale. Smale trying to get away from Curry. Finally succeeds in getting it to Babbage. Babbage against the forechecking of Curry is forced back in behind the net. Gretzky gets it, feeds it out front. Nobody in position, and Ron Wilson starts back. Lead pass in across the line. Drop back to the point for Ellett. Ellett pushes it into the corner, but Gretzky was out in the center ice area looking for that breakaway lead pass. Now it's Gretzky for Curry. Curry takes a shot, and the defender back there for the Winnipeg Jets, Ron Wilson, broke his stick on the play.
He broke his stick over Yari Curry. Very fortunate he didn't get a slashing penalty.
Dave Ellett forced back into his own zone, fires it up through the middle. Randy Gregg knocks it down. Into the center ice area for Anderson. Anderson goes rink wide. Gretzky brings it across the line for Anderson. He was tied up. A penalty coming up against Thomas Steen.
Now that's what happens when you start skating for the open ice area, and if the player, the defender, doesn't have good position on you, he has to haul you down. This time Anderson had a step on Steen and draws the penalty. So the Oilers again will get a power play opportunity.
Watch Anderson fall away from Steen when he goes to try and get the puck. See the puck, see the stick? Anderson went down because Steen had a hold of it, but he made sure he fell to the outside, and that really made it look like the holding penalty. So Edmonton get a chance on their power play once again.
32 seconds remaining in the penalties to the two number 7s, Tim Waters of the Jets and Paul Coffey of the Oilers.
You know, that was a good time if Anderson is going to go down, do it, because Van Hellemond, the referee, was over on the other side of the boards. And didn't really get a good look at it.
That's right. He fell away from him, Gary, and that really made it look like it was a holding penalty. It's funny how a person has his legs fly out from under him when the other person's holding your stick.
4 skaters against 3. The Oilers with the manpower advantage. Picard and Anderson do some pushing and exchanging words.
Don, they were both trying to get a position on the face-off here, and Picard lost his balance from Anderson.
Gregg at the point, trying to slide it through, and it's broken up by Picard and cleared the length of the ice.
Well, a lot of hesitation there by Randy Gregg, not really knowing where to...
Oh! Messier almost lost that puck and put it in his own net. Back to the line for Gretzky. Gretzky for Randy Gregg. Gregg into the slot. Messier, a backhand shot knocked down and cleared down the ice.
These Jets and their penalty killing, even when they're a 4-on-3 situation, really don't care. They don't play that triangle. They play all over the place. Now it's a 5-on-4.
Puck comes to the line and is brought out by Doug Smale. Now Anderson takes over in the center ice area. Lead pass off the stick as they were looking for Gretzky breaking in. To the line, kept in by Paul Coffey. It goes to the corner. Now back to the net. Gretzky trying to get it out front. Krushelnyski is out there as well. He goes back to the net, fighting for it. Comes to the line. Coffey with a shot. That hits Wilson. Coffey gets it again. Coffey moving right in. He scores!
Wilson and Gretzky are trying to get at each other. After the goal was scored, Gretzky skated right over to Wilson, had a few words. What an effort by Paul Coffey, pulling down. He's been a very important person for these Oilers right down the stretch of the season in the playoffs. Watch his balance and strength. Look at him as he uses that left leg. Now he fires the puck right in past Hayward as he was falling over. Unbelievable talent.
And of course, he seems to thrive in going on his off wing. He seems to have better balance coming down that side. And you're not going to stop Paul Coffey with a hook or a slash. You really have to take him physically. And once he gets a stride on you, forget it. So the Oilers have struck for a power play goal.
3 goals, 3 points for Coffey, a goal and 2 assists. And the last 2 especially, he's been such a key, important part of it.
Huddy drawing the assist on Paul Coffey's 4th goal of the playoffs at 14-11. Krushelnyski is bumped by McBain. The puck goes loose along the boards. The two of them still fighting for it. Finally, Turnbull helps out and dumps it into the center ice area. Krushelnyski and McBain continued their bumping out into the center ice area, and both of them fell down. Now McBain gets the lead pass for Turnbull. He has Arneal with him. Tried to feed it between the two defensemen, and it was broken up by Lee Fogelin, and it's cleared down the ice by Edmonton.
You know, Charlie Huddy, being the comical guy is, he says, look, all I have to do on some occasions is give the puck to Coffey in my own zone, and that'll take care of everything. He'll score.
So intelligent, it knows precisely when to turn rear-wheel drive performance into all-wheel drive control. So intuitive, it's beyond machine. The all-new 306 horsepower G from Infinity.
Help is close to home.
Be prepared. Choose a quality reactor LED flashlight. Only at Home Hardware and Home Building Center, your LED headquarters. With LED technology, batteries last at least 10 times longer, give you up to a 100-foot beam, and are up to 20 times brighter. In the car, at home, or as a great gift, see all the reactor LED flashlights. Only at Home Hardware.
Help is close to home.
When you get a cold, you can't always slow down, but you can get the cold symptom relief you need to keep going with NyQuil at night and DayQuil during the day. Feel better fast.
If you've ever had a cold sore, you just want to get rid of it. Abreva can help. It's the #1 selling cold sore treatment in Canada. Available without prescription, Abreva is clinically proven to speed healing and reduce the duration of symptoms. Abreva is the only cold sore medicine that restricts entry of the cold sore virus into surrounding cells, limiting its ability to spread. So don't suffer the discomfort of cold sores any longer than you have to. Help get rid of them with Abreva. Brand power, helping you buy better.
These are standard GE halogens. These are GE Nighthawk headlamps. They're 30% brighter, so you can see farther and drive with confidence. GE Nighthawk headlamps.
The Oilers lead the Jets with 4:56 remaining in the first.
Of course, Mark Messier taking the face-off. He caused quite a stir here trying to put the puck in his own zone. I'm sure he wasn't going to try that play again.
Those puck along the boards. Messier fires it around the other side for Gregg. Gregg is forechecked by Mullen. The puck goes loose. Finally, the Oilers. Melnick picks it up, but not out. Kept in at the line by Waters. Now it's Thomas Steen working in the corner. Tried to slide it out front from McLean. Intercepted by the Oilers, and they come back. Led by McClellan with a long drive and just sailed wide. Hunter and Waters go to the boards. McClelland is also in there. He tried to feed it back to the point. Nobody was in position, and Boschman brings it to center ice. He loses it. And then in turn, the Oilers have it poked away with 4:09 remaining here in the first period. 3-1, Edmonton leads. Paul Coffey across the line. Taken to the boards by Taglianetti, manages to get it out front. McClelland on his backhand was spun around, and the Jets come back. 3-on-2, led by Doug Smale. Fort McCarr, the shot sails wide. McCarr gets it again. Another shot knocked down in front, and back come the Oilers, led by Willie Lindstrom. 3:43 remaining in this first period. Lindstrom against Carlisle. Smale also comes in there. Gretzky is there as well. The loose puck finally picked up by Laurie Boschman. Boschman, who's wearing the C tonight, as he has since the injury to Dale Hawerchuk, trying to work through, pokes it for Doug Smale. He couldn't get a shot away. Now it's back of the net. Smale comes up with it. To Boschman. Boschman sliding it out front. Bill jams away at it. And Grant Fuhr stands his ground and holds it against the post. 3 minutes remain in the first period. 3-1. The Oilers lead the Jets. They've outshot the Jets 13-7. Kevin Lowe takes the draw over to Lee Fogelin. Up into the center ice area. Benny Lundholm is back for Winnipeg. He drops it over to Ellett. Ellett goes rink wide for Babbage. Now a pass into the slot for Smale. A shot off the leg. It goes wide. Smale gets it again using his quickness for Thomas Steen. Steen trying to move out. He has it poked away and back up the orders. 3-on-2 led by Krushelnyski. Looking for Gretzky, and it's broken up and comes to the line where Benny Lundholm has it for Winnipeg. He loses it. And it goes back in the Winnipeg net where Dave Babbage is working against Gretzky. The puck is loose. Krushelnyski right out front. He was allowed to move out. Another shot. That goes off the leg. Now Krushelnyski gets it again. He and Gretzky bump behind the goal. The puck goes loose. And finally Thomas Steen picks it up. Coffey intercepts the pass. A shot deflected wide. At the side of the net, the puck is loose. Finally, it's dumped out to the line and into the center ice area.
You know, Don, that all resulted because Lundholm had the puck a stride from the blue line, wouldn't dump it out. He took it back in his own zone, and look what happened.
Now, Jari Kurri waiting for someone to catch up with the play. Here's a long drive, knocked down in front. The puck is loose at the side of the net. Finally, it's cleared by Dave Ellett. Messier against Boschman in that face-off circle. To the left of Brian Hayward. The Oilers have applied a lot of pressure here in this first period. Anderson digs out the loose puck for Napier. He's taken in against the boards. Puck comes to Anderson, to Messier. Messier looking for Anderson at the side of the net. He slides it across, intended for Napier, and he couldn't get a stick on it. Back comes Winnipeg, led by Nil. Long shot, gloved by Grant Fuhr as we approach the final minute of this first period. Wilson with a drive off the leg. Picard winds up. It goes off the stick, and the Oilers bring it back. Messier to Anderson. Drop pass for Messier. He tried to slide it across, and Anderson was tied up, and it's brought back by Winnipeg's Boschman. Boschman to the line against Coffey, dumps it in with 41 seconds remaining in the period.
The majority of the play this period, Don, has been in that Winnipeg zone. They went with 4 defensemen pretty much the first game. They're going with 6 more tonight, but they have to be getting tired. The Edmonton forwards are much quicker than the Winnipeg defensemen are, and it really is shown here in the first period.
Loose puck at center ice. Lindstrom breaks up the play. Now Picard has it for Carlisle. Ahead to Thomas Steen. It deflects into the Edmonton zone. Steen comes up with it, looking for someone to pass it to. He slid it out front, but nobody in position. Steen gets it again for McLean. What a save by Grant Fuhr, with McLean all alone directly in front of the net.
Well, McLean has that knack of shooting that puck quickly, and he does it again. This time Fuhr outguesses him. Fuhr moved across, and watch when McLean shoots the puck, Fuhr's shoulders are square to the play, and you've heard me mention that a number of times, square to the play. Now watch the shot. See if Fuhr's out there. Even though he's down, he's square to that puck. He's not reaching for it. Great save.
You know, from a player's point of view or a forward in a shooting position, you want to release it immediately. Perhaps McLean said, well, if I had it over again, perhaps I would have made a move right or left and shoot it, but I still think the answer is to shoot it. And it's easy for us to look at a replay and say, what if?
But then Coffey, the other night during the first game, he held on to the puck, and he felt he should have moved it quickly or shot it quickly. So you never know. Both times it's nothing but hindsight. But Grant Fuhr, that's a big save. 8 seconds left in the period.
That would have been a big goal for the Jets had McLean been able to score. 8 seconds remaining in the period. Face-off to the right of Fuhr. Boschman will be attempting to get the draw back to the point to Dave Ellett. He's the only player back at the line. The other defenseman, Dave Babbage, is right up in front. Here's Ellett. Takes a shot. It goes off the leg. And a lead pass as it's dumped down into the Winnipeg zone as the period ends. The score at the end of the first period is Edmonton 3, Winnipeg 1.
So good with the tears in my eyes. She's my cherry pie. Swing it to guitar, swing it to the bass in the
Experience joy on the road with up to 100 channels of music commercial-free, comedy, talk, and sports. XM Satellite Radio. There's no place like it. Right now, get $50 off car installation or 1-year subscription.
These are standard GE halogens. These are GE Nighthawk headlamps. They're 30% brighter, so you can see farther and drive with confidence. GE Nighthawk headlamps.
All you do is show up. And shoot a few pucks into the net. From the blue line. And you will win the next generation 2007 Chevy Silverado. Plus a few bucks. What could be easier?
Feeling lucky? Enter the Chevy Silverado $1 Million Shootout at tsn.ca/Silverado.
We've saved you a spot on the beach.
And we've got the sharks out of the pool.
We've had the camels shampooed.
And we got the roos off the green.
We've turned on the lights. So where the bloody hell are you?
Go to Australia now from just $1,499 with the Qantas Aussie Air Pass, which includes round-trip airfare plus 3 flights within Australia. Call 1-877-DOWN-UNDER or visit australia.com/airpass.
Well, Dale, you've been the most talked about individual for the past week. What is the state of your health? I understand you are back skating.
Well, I skated yesterday and today, and starting to feel a little better. And you know, if everything goes well, I'll be back Tuesday. But I'll have to get the doctors okay first. Dale, have you been fitted with a flak jacket, much like the quarterbacks wear in football? Well, they got one on order, and we should have it fitted by Monday.
The Winnipeg Jets now with that man advantage. Don't run away, Dale. We've got some more questions for you, and I'm sure all the hockey fans would be interested in hearing your comments, particularly those back in Winnipeg. Now, the Jets trying to force the play, and it's whistled down as it was gloved ahead. Dale, on this power play, there's no doubt the Winnipeg Jets miss you, but without number 10 out there, what should they be doing?
Well, I think what they got to do is they got to be patient, you know. You can't get too excited. You got 2 minutes. Use up all the clock, and if they can spread it out a little bit, and if they can't work anything open underneath, then get it back to the point and let a few point shots go. And you got to screen Grant Fuhr because he's playing well, and the best way to get to him is take his vision away from the puck. Dale, you've scouted the games on television as far as the Winnipeg Jets go. Have you seen anything that the Oilers have done differently than what you people have expected? Well, John, you know, they skate, and we all know that, but the thing is, you got to bottle them up before they start winding up, and we just haven't been doing that tonight. And you know, the key in Edmonton is to bottle them up and have a close game and play a tight check-in, and maybe you'll get that 1 or 2 goal lead that you need. Well, good luck to you. I'll tell you this much: John Ferguson said you're going to tape an aspirin to that rib cage, and he said you'll be all right. So hopefully we'll be able to get you back in the lineup. Thanks very much. I hope you're back by Tuesday. Okay, Dale, we certainly hope that you are back in the lineup on Tuesday. Thanks very much for chatting with us, and now we'll let you get comfortable to watch the balance of the game. Dale Hawerchuk, the captain of the Winnipeg Jets, talking to us via the long-distance telephone as he recovers from that rib injury and gets set for Game 3 of this series back in Winnipeg on Tuesday night. And there's little doubt that the Winnipeg Jets can certainly use Dale Hawerchuk in this playoff round against the Edmonton Oilers. Boschman across the line, feeds it for Andrew McBain. McBain spun around, got it again. Back to Smale. Smale drops it for Carlisle. A shot that hit a leg. A race for that loose puck. Hunter pokes it away, trying to work against Carlisle. Carlisle managed to make the recovery. Puck is loose in that Winnipeg zone. Hunter playing it back to his own line. Now it's Gregg shooting it across the ice, and the fans react to the excellent penalty killing of the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers paying the price for blocking shots. This time it's Lee Folker. Now he's on the bench trying to walk off a shot as he was caught in the ankle area. Here's a drive, and that just went wide as Picard was allowed to walk in. Actually, he could have moved in even closer before letting it go. Loose puck along the boards.
And the penalized player is back out there as the Oilers again effectively have killed off a penalty.
Well, that's something that the Oilers have done so well all throughout the playoffs because of their aggressive forechecking, and also they have the speed. They can take chances knowing that they can get back in time to break up a play.
For Mullen across the line. Mullen with a drive. A rising shot off the glass. It ricochets all the way into the neutral zone. Babbage is back there, and it's brought in offside. 13:59 remaining in the second. The Oilers in front 4-1. They led 3-1 after 20 minutes.
Now you can see now that Barry Long is starting to switch some lines around and giving Wilson a little bit more work and putting Turnbull on the wing.
Babbage, Van a shot. Loose puck at the side of the net. As Ellett took a swipe at it, Babbage keeps it in at the point. A backhand drive high into the corner. Wilson has knocked off the puck. It comes back to the line. Ellett was unable to keep it in. 13:34. The time remaining as Arneal comes across the line, works to the corner, falls, and Paul Coffey picks up the loose puck. Ahead for Messier. Messier dodges a check from McBain, loses the puck. Coffey picked it up, but it was offside. It's interesting. The fans react every time Paul Coffey starts to wind up.
I wonder why.
Well, there's the one Winnipeg Jet fan.
The mascot.
The mascot. Holy. A few hours in the paint room before he showed up for tonight's contest.
I think they missed the number right up in the top left-hand corner.
You know, it's interesting, in talking to Barry Fraser between periods, he was saying that Gretzky's have little or fewer ice minutes on the ice this season than any season in the past. He said Paul Coffey's been the player getting the most of the ice to work on the ice this season, usually around 33, 34 minutes a game. And Coffey seems to thrive on it.
Certainly doesn't look like he's laboring when he's skating.
Hunter pokes it in the corner. Jim Kite trying to move it out, loses it. Shot from a bad angle goes wide. Now Gregg has a shot, bounce off Doug Smale, a race for that loose puck. Melnick is going back after it. Smale also racing in. They fight for it along the boards and tie it up for a face-off. You know, we talked about Paul Coffey.
Yeah, we talk about Coffey a lot. The great goal scoring and the offensive abilities of him, but it's Lowe and Fogland. Both players bent over here, both players playing hurt. They both have blocked shots during this game, aches and bruises. You got to have these types of players in the lineup, Gary.
You know what happens, though, John, is that everybody wants to wear lighter equipment. It makes them go faster, and sometimes you sacrifice by wearing shin pads that that are not as heavy, and so that when you do get hit with a slap shot, it really smarts. I know in our hockey club a lot of years ago, everybody went to lighter gloves, lighter shin pads, and then when you got hurt, then you would suffer for a couple of weeks.
You bet, but I think Fogland got the one down around the foot and the ankle, and it's tough to cover that with padding. And they'll come out in the next shift and they'll do it again too. Those type of players those people are.
Of course, the forwards they'll laugh at the defenseman, kind of chuckle at him, and the defenseman will say, "Well, why don't you guys block the shot once in a while, see what it feels like?"
Thomas Steen in the center ice area. Long shot that hit the defenseman Randy Gregg, and now it goes to the corner. Dumped along the boards. Carlisle with a shot. Screen drive. Bounced off a leg to the corner. The Oilers bring it back. Hunter for McClellan. McClellan in across the line. He dumps it out into the center ice area. And there's an injured Winnipeg player. Paul McLean was slow going back. Arneal takes a long shot that is gloved and held. Face off to the right of Muir. Wilson against Carroll. Carroll gets it back to Kevin Lowe. Babbage keeps it in at the point. Scott Arneal trying to get it out for Turnbull. He was tied up. It goes to the other side. Allen racing in from his blue line spot, pinching in. Unable to control it. Now Krushelnyski comes across the line with Carroll. A shot. It goes wide. Picked up off the end boards and dumped into the corner by Allen. Now it's Krushelnyski trying to get it out front. It hit Wilson, and Wilson directs it ahead to Arneal. He couldn't move it out, but Wilson will bring it out. Wilson with a long shot that is gloved by Muir. It's loose in the corner. Babbage pinches in against Krushelnyski, manages to keep it in. Now Carroll is tied up. Turnbull couldn't get a shot away. Barry Turnbull circling in the corner. Trying to move it out front, gets it to Ron Wilson, backhand shot. Muir kicks that to the corner. Vogelin is taken in against the boards, falls on top of the puck. Now it comes out the other side. The two Jet players in there. Arneal and Wilson didn't see it. Got loose again. Turnbull backhand shot. And Pure grabs that and hangs on.
Bowflex Home Gyms. What do you want to be?
My name is Michael Palinko, and I'm 49 years old. I'm in the best shape of my life, and I'm living my dream. I'm playing in a rock band.
How can a 49-year-old man look so young and strong? He strength trains with Bowflex.
You got to see this free DVD. It'll change your life. In 10 weeks, I lost 26 pounds of fat. My waist dropped from a 36-inch down to about a 30. I love the way I look.
All it takes is one simple workout, 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week.
If you want to get a Bowflex body, you got to have a genuine Bowflex.
Own your very own Bowflex for no money down and low monthly payments.
Bowflex let me be who I wanted to be. I play in a rock band. I live my dream. I'm 49 years old, and this is a real Bowflex body.
Be strong. Be fit. Be Bowflex. Call or go online now for your free DVD that tells you all about Bowflex Home Gyms. Call now.
Presenting the magnificent new Lexus LS 460. Pursue the moment. Lexus.
Face-off to the right of Pure. It's Boston and Messier in the circle. And Messier is going to be waved out of there, so now Gretzky moves in.
That last shift by Wilson, Turnbull, Arneal was the best for the Jets in this game, and they have to continue with that type of aggressive forechecking.
Lead pass for Curry, too far, but Hayward is forced to make the save, and very wisely, with two players cutting in, he covers up.
Gary Curry leads his team as far as shots on goal. Go for the hockey club. Remember I mentioned going into this game, Gretzky only had 8, but Curry had 21. So you know what Gretzky had been doing, trying to get the puck across. You know, when he grew up in a suburb of Helsinki, he played for a team called the Toronto Maple Leafs, not the Leafs, when he was a kid, 8 years old. He said scoring came easy at that time of his life, too.
Well, he's a national hero back in his native Finland. Here's a lead pass for Neal, a shot. Pure reacts quickly and kicks that to the corner. Bumping in the corner, and Curry is sent flying by Jim Neal. And now there's some pushing and shoving.
Of course, soon as that happened, number 27, Dave Semenko, comes waltzing in there. And hey, look, that's my bread and butter, that 17 and 99. Don't fool around with those guys.
Well, they call him the watchdog. Certainly knows what his job is on the ice. When he gets his feathers ruffled, Gretzky skating over talking to Van Hellemond. He always gets his comments in.
You know, Neal makes an excellent play here. He cuts through the middle and then stops and in one motion lets that shot go. But again, you see how alert Grant Fuhr is. And there's the hit coming late. 17 against another 17.
Bill made a good play, Gary. He went from his backhand to his forehand and proved his shot, the angle of the shot directed towards Grant Fuhr. Fuhr, good save again with his quickness. You can see where the hole is being repaired by Ray Scampanello, the linesman. Fuhr, in kicking his leg out, came down with the heel of his skate blade into the ice, and that'll chip away and make a hole. A lot of goaltenders used to do that, still do it, to try and slow play down. Makes the linesman do the repair work, gives his team a chance to get rested at times.
Now Paul McLean, who was limping as he went off to that Winnipeg bench earlier, back out there now for this shift. Semenko had trouble controlling it, but the Oilers managed to bring it out to the center ice area. Now it's Huddy playing it off the boards, broken up by Ellett. Loose puck, Coffey, right side, Curry moving in, shot! And with that quick release, Hayward just got a piece of it. Now it's Gretzky. For Curry, back to Gretzky. He was tied up. Penalty coming up against the Winnipeg Jets.
Dave Ellett gets the hooking penalty. Wayne Gretzky causes the whole thing to happen. First of all, he intercepts the pass at the blue line as Winnipeg throw the puck across the middle right here. See the interception. Now he draws the penalty as everybody goes to him and forget about Curry. Gretzky intercepts the pass, and then he makes them take the penalty.
You notice when Gretzky passes off, he doesn't stand still. He immediately goes for that open area, and that's where the Oilers are so good, that give and go.
Long lead pass, too far, and it slides down to the Winnipeg goal. Carlisle clears it. Wilson in the center ice area simply deflected it down into the Edmonton zone.
Taking a page from Gretzky's book there, waiting at center ice for that long pass. Soon as the Jets get control, move to the open ice. Why not try and get a shorthanded goal?
Coffey now will pick it up behind his own net. You played against Bobby Orr. How would you rate Orr and Coffey as skaters, Dorney?
Boy, they are excellent. I think Coffey has a step on him, though.
Semenko with a shot. Saved by goaltender Brian Hayward, and it's fired down the ice.
Quicker acceleration. One stride, and he is in full stride. Look at him.
Well, he's moving to the outside of Smale. Tried to go around Babbage. It was broken up at the line. And the pass to Huddy is offside.
You're talking about defensemen. I asked Charlie Huddy, I said, geez, you got the 7 assists going in the playoffs so far. You have any bonuses for that? Any cash coming your way with all those assists? He said, nah, I just like to watch Coffey. All I have to do is give him the puck. He's another guy with a good sense of humor on the Edmonton Oilers Hockey Club.
You know, with all the pressure involved in playoffs, it's very important that you have that camaraderie and that joking around in the dressing room. But once the puck is dropped, you know that the teams are down to some serious business.
59 seconds remaining in the penalty. Anderson looking for somewhere to pass it to. Gets it again. Anderson trying to slide it into Messier, looking for that return pass. It was broken up by Babbage. Now along the boards, Anderson and Steen jab away at it. Anderson manages to get it loose. It goes into the corner again. Now Messier gets away from Babbage. Messier feeding it out, and Gregg was tied up by Waters. Gregg gets it again. Gregg back to the line. Over to the other side for Messier. Messier trying to get away from Smale. He was one-handing the puck, but it was poked out to center ice.
Dr. Gregg on the power play for these Oilers has been in that position quite a bit during this hockey game.
Babbage with a drive. It goes wide. The Jets making a change. Randy Carlisle picks off the pass, gives it to Picard. He clears it. The penalized player back in the ice as Wilson breaks in. A shot to save. Big rebound. And it's cleared by Melnick. 7:55 remaining in the second period. 4-1, the Oilers lead. In front, it bounces off a leg. Now it's picked up by Carlisle. In front again, and Hayward managed to steer it to the corner as Gretzky took that pass from Napier. Now it's Gretzky circling at the side of the net, controlling, trying to move out front. He does, takes the shot. It comes back to the line and down the ice.
Well, the noise says it all here at the Gretzky Show. It's tough to hit him, folks. He's a star in his own right, and one reason why he's so good is nobody can hit him.
Pat Hughes working to the corner. Taken out of the play by Carlisle. Puck loose now, and Boschman trying to get it out, but having some problems. Good forechecking by the Oilers. Finally, it's fired out to the center ice area. Lundholm for Winnipeg. Trying to get set, takes the shot. A high drive that Fuhr knocked down and was able to clear. Fed in front, and there's nobody in position as Boschman was tied up. McLean gets it. McLean trying to move in front, gets it, spins around. There's a penalty coming up against the Edmonton Oilers.
The New York Rangers are the Stanley Cup champions, and this one will last a lifetime.
Will you ever forget the heroic players and dramatic moments of the 1994 Stanley Cup Championship? Back-to-back 7-game series wins over New Jersey and Vancouver.
Saved by Richter! What a save!
All 14 complete games of the Rangers' historic run past the Devils and Canucks are now available on DVD.
See that goal? Then he should have his ref shirt taken away. Hey! Hi! I'm allowed to park here, as per the signage.
The new rear view camera dramatically improves visibility while backing up. You can install the camera yourself, and the LCD monitor mounts conveniently inside. Safety starts at Canadian Tire.
The truck's so big.
A dandruff shampoo feeling this good? New Head & Shoulders Ocean Lift. The formula revitalizes your scalp and gives you healthy looking hair. Its invigorating scent is quite unexpected. New Head & Shoulders Ocean Lift. Dandruff relief.
What would happen if we took a trip and only made left turns?
Make a left! We've made the left.
Who would we meet? Where would we find ourselves?
Left turn ahead.
And just how far would we go?
Third round, too slow.
Tell better stories in the 266 horsepower, 7-passenger Nissan Pathfinder.
These are standard GE halogens. These are GE Nighthawk headlamps. They're 30% brighter, so you can see farther and drive with confidence. GE Nighthawk headlamps.
Well, the Winnipeg Jets got some forechecking going. Krushelnyski ends up with a hooking penalty. It all happened around Grand Fuhr, right around the net. There you see him with Boschman. He pulls him down, and that's why he's in the penalty box. Winnipeg need a goal desperately to get back in this game. And watch out, here comes number 7.
6:42 remaining. Long drive. The save made by Hayward. I guess Coffey thinks if it worked once, I should try it again, as he scored on a blast from an almost identical position in a shorthanded situation early in this period. Andrew McBain plays it back at the net. Mullen for Steen. Steen trying to move out front. He's sent flying. It comes back to the point. Babbage with a shot. It deflects high. Knocked down, and Gretzky flips it down the ice, but it's whistled down as it was gloved ahead.
Well, you can see the gash on the cheek of Thomas Steen. Appeared to me he was cross-checked from behind by Charlie Huddy, and he may have hit his face on the ice when he went down. I'm not real sure how he got cut. Watch him in front. There's a high stick right there. Now you see the cross-check. Down he goes, and he went down hard.
Right about this point, I think John Ferguson just hollering and screaming, seeing that.
Boschman pleading his case with Van Hellemond, asking why it wasn't called. He's still there talking to him.
Not going to win it.
No chance.
Well, a few moments ago, we saw the Wayne Gretzky show as we look at Thomas Steen.
You know, what's amazing, Don, is how Gretzky can turn on a dime, you know, in a small area. Just keep twisting and turning, and as JD mentioned, he's very tough to knock off the puck.
Back at the line, Babbage plays it behind the goal. Boschman trying to get it out front. He's tied up. Gretzky has it to the line, knocked down by Ellett. Ellett along the boards for McLean. Over to Babbage. He winds up. Shot right on with Boschman again in front of that net. Ellett knocks it down at the line. A shot. This goes wide. The rebound picked up by Boschman. To the line. Babbage moving in. A shot. That's deflected high up into the crowd.
You know, I can't understand why Babbage plays over against those boards like that. Whenever he gets a shot, it's from a bad angle. He's got to move his body towards center ice a little bit. And we talked about Gretzky controlling the play. Try and hit Wayne Gretzky. Here he gets forechecked a little bit or poke checked by the goaltender. Now they're trying to bump and grind him. The key is to hit Wayne Gretzky. See if anybody can.
Look at that.
He's going around in circles. He makes players run into each other. He's got 4 Winnipeg Jets, including the goaltender, trying to hit him, trying to make him make the play. You think somebody else is wide open? You've got 5 Winnipeg Jets standing right around that goal crease area.
Watching him. 53 seconds remaining in the penalty. Allen fires it into the corner. Doug Smale picks it up. He's forced to dump it back for Boschman. Boschman is tied up. Smale gets it again. Smale for Boschman. Boschman having difficulty getting anything set up. Now Ellett comes in. Ellett takes a shot. It deflects off a stick. Picked up in the corner by McLean. To the line for Babbage. Babbage, a shot that deflects high, is knocked down in front of the net and then fired down the ice. With 19 seconds left in the penalty to Mike Krushelnyski.
You know, the Jets are controlling puck in the Edmonton zone, but there isn't anything going through. No shots on net.
Pass picked off by Carroll and dumped back into the Winnipeg zone. Just 4 seconds remaining in the penalty as Wilson comes across the line. Wilson trying to go outside of Kevin Lowe. He was knocked down, and the Oilers break out. For Krushelnyski. Krushelnyski trying to go around Carlisle. Carlisle ties him up. The loose puck is brought back by Paul McLean with 4:29 remaining in the second period. Loose puck in the corner. Gretzky is back. He plays it to an open wing. Picard has it. A shot right in front, deflected by Arneal. And then with Turnbull looking for the rebound, Grant Fuhr kicked it to the boards. Gretzky across the line. For Semenko, he deflects it to the goal mouth and then slides into the goal as Hayward made the save.
Can you show me which way to go? 'Cause I would really, really love to know.
It's cool toys. It's people who really know their stuff. It's the convenience of 800 locations. It's The Source by Circuit City. Right now, it's where incredible prices on awesome remote control cars and toys are at. Each sold separately, batteries not included.
When you get a cold, you can't always slow down. But you can get the cold symptom relief you need to keep going. With NyQuil at night and DayQuil during the day. Feel better fast.
What do I control? I don't control the bumps and the bruises, the crowd, or who covers me. I don't control the bounces, the shootout order, or for that matter, what happens outside the rink. There are a lot of things in life I don't control. But then again, there are some things that I do.
New Buckley's Complete relieves your cough, cold, and flu symptoms, including fever and sore throat. It's the same awful taste as the original. Buckley's. It tastes awful, and it works.
Well, I think we've seen 2 or 3 instances in the playoffs where those magnets have prevented very serious injury.
Well, there was a good example where Semenko went right in and the net disengaged as it's supposed to do.
McBain working against Coffey, trying to go to the corner. He's tied up. Semenko along the boards, gets it to Gretzky with Curry. Across the line, Gretzky tried to go between the 2 defensemen, and Picard broke it up. Finally, Steen touched it, but that produces an offside call against the Winnipeg Jets.
This program is copyright and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, distribution, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited.
Don, you mentioned Thomas Steen back on the ice. He does have a bandage on that left cheek. He never missed a shift after he was knocked to the ice and got that cut up.
Tape and guts, eh?
John Ferguson, tape and aspirin to it, should be all right.
Get out there and play.
Well, his nickname is the Junkyard Dog, and with that piece of tape on there, he does look mean, doesn't he? Dumped into the corner. Picard, back of his own net, tried to play it around the boards. McClellan came racing in with Willie Lindstrom. They fight for it in the corner. Carlisle finally comes up with it. For Andrew McBain, to Steen on the left side, a little too far for Lundholm. He catches up with it, but can't do anything with it. Finally, it's dumped out into the center ice area. Pass over on the left side for Willie Lindstrom, and Tim Waters got there first to deflect it into the box.
John Ferguson keeps talking about Tim Waters. The unheralded Tim Waters. He says he's had more fighting majors than the rest of his team during the last 2 or 3 seasons. He says he hasn't won many. He might not even have won one, but he's certainly there, and that's the type of player our hockey club needs night after night.
3:03 the time left in the second. 4-1. The Oilers lead the Jets. It was 3-1 after 20 minutes. Doug Smale dumps it in, works to the corner, then loses it, and back comes Edmonton. On the right side for Anderson. Anderson with a drive. That deflects off a leg. Back at the point. Kept in by Edmonton. A shot knocked down in front by Jim Kite. Kite has seen limited action so far tonight. Here's Boschman with a shot. And that's kicked high up into the crowd.
Well, Grant Fuhr has certainly been tested a few times in this period, but has come up awfully big. When it looked like the Jets were going to mount a threat, he always seems to come up with that save that takes some of the life away from him.
Watch how he turns his puck to the side. Watch his stick to the left side of the net there. See how he turned his stick to the outside? That puck hit the stick, went up into the crowd, slows the play down, causes a face-off, and certainly he never allowed that rebound to lay around the front of that goal crease. When a goaltender gets into a groove like Grant Fuhr is, you're able to do those things.
You know, as good as Grant Fuhr has been, the Oiler defensemen have been just as good clearing that rebound, not allowing the second shot on net.
Well, after 20 minutes, the Jets trailed 14-8 in shots on goal. They now lead 22-21. But in the most important department, it's 4-1. Edmonton in front. Ron Wilson breaks in for Winnipeg, dumping it over for Arneal. Arneal having some problems controlling it. It comes back to the line for Curry. He goes rink wide for Semenko. He couldn't pick it up, and Ellett has it now for Winnipeg. Dave Ellett trying to move into the slot, tied up, and Gretzky comes back. Gretzky drops it for Coffey. Back to Gretzky, rolls it in front. Semenko bangs away at it, and it's cleared down the ice.
Well, that was a 3-on-3 situation, and Ellett let Gretzky go, and it very nearly backfired on the Winnipeg Jets. And I know it's a very difficult thing to do to stay with Gretzky, but Semenko's going to park himself. He already had one defenseman with Semenko in front of the net. And watch Gretzky, he just slips in and makes the play. Ellett had let him go. And there's big Dave Semenko in front. As he was knocked down, you don't see that too often either.
No, immediately Semenko knows exactly what he has to do. He just heads for the net and parks himself there. It's been causing a lot of disturbance in front of Hayward.
1:43 the time remaining in the second period. Lead pass for Mullen. He couldn't control it. It slides into the neutral zone. Play broken up at the line by Picard. Just in the nick of time with Pat Hughes trying to break in behind the play. Pass for Thomas Dean. He dumps it in. Mullen races to the corner against Gregg. Gregg managed to play it around to the other side with 1:16 left in the second. Now, here's a chance for Krushelnyski. He takes a shot. It goes wide. Paul McLean. Lead pass for Mullen as we move into the final minute of this second period. Lee Fogelin goes to the corner, up along the boards for Billy Carroll. And the Oilers tonight are using their fourth line much more than they did in game one of this series.
You know, and quite a few times tonight when the Jets have broken out of their own zone, it's never three guys going up the ice together. Just two guys, always one guy hanging back. And you really can't set up a play unless you have all three guys going together.
You know, players like Laurie Boschman, they try to lead their hockey club. And it appears to me it was similar to the Calgary Hockey Club, where when Lanny McDonald was in the lineup, they had a leader up front. When he wasn't, Doug Riseborough tried to, but he was not 100% healthy, and they didn't have that leader. Here, Winnipeg, without Howard Chuck, have that same problem as far as the forwards go. Not a real good leader, somebody to just be that catalyst, open things up. Guys like Boschman try to do it, but they're not as good at doing it as a person like Dale Howard-Chuck, simply because of the ability factor.
Boschman gets the draw, back to Babbage, a shot. It hit a leg and went to the corner. The Jets are getting those shots from the point, but a lot of them aren't getting through. But high in the air and gloved by Fuhr.
Of course, when the puck comes back to the point, a defenseman only has so much time before he has to shoot it, either at the net or back in the corner again. And I know the defensemen, they're going to look around, but it's the responsibility of the forwards to start converging on Grant Fuhr, either to the side or try to get in front of him, and then at least that they can do something with that shot that's directed at Fuhr. Because he's stopping everything that comes out.
Actually, going into this game, Joe Meloche for the Minnesota North Stars had a better save percentage, but they were both around the .930 mark. That's excellent.
Vogelin, left side, off Hunter's stick, in back of the Winnipeg goal. Boschman gets it ahead for Smale. Smale for Allen. With 10 seconds remaining, a long shot that's gloved by Fuhr. He leaves it there for Vogelin, and the Edmonton Oilers will leave period 2 with a 3-goal advantage. And so the score at the end of the second period is Edmonton 4, Winnipeg 1.
The spirit of equestrian. Today at 12:30 on TSN. Brought to you by Rolex.
Can you show me which way to go? 'Cause I would really, really love to know.
It's the coolest phones. It's people who really know their stuff. It's the convenience of 800 locations. It's the Source by Circuit City. Right now, it's where you can get the hottest phones and incredible offers from the largest wireless source in Canada.
A dandruff shampoo feeling this good? New Head & Shoulders Ocean Lift. The formula revitalizes your scalp and gives you healthy looking hair. Its invigorating scent is quite unexpected. New Head & Shoulders Ocean Lift. Dandruff relief.
After buying a Suzuki SX4, Mike quickly put the all-wheel drive to use. The rush was intense, and the deeper he drove into the woods, the happier he felt to be alive. Of course, he wasn't quite so giddy when Wolf Boy showed up. On the bright side, that SX4 sure looked nice.
The Suzuki SX4. Please, use the all-wheel drive responsibly.
Winnipeg Jets will fly back to Winnipeg via charter immediately following tonight's game. The Oilers will work out here at Northlands Coliseum tomorrow and again on Monday morning before flying into Winnipeg on Monday afternoon. Loose puck in the center ice area, picked up now by Napier, ahead to Anderson, working against Picard. He tried to slide it into the slot, and it was broken up and dumped back into the neutral zone. 9 penalties so far in the hockey game, 5 against Edmonton. All of them have been minor infractions. Randy Gregg for Melnick, ahead to Napier. He dumps it in. One thing the Oilers have done so well in both Game 1 and Game 2 is cover up in their own zone. Now they're applying some pressure in the Winnipeg zone as Huddy dumps it to the corner. Carlisle manages to get it out, but his pass is too far into the center ice area for Jim Nill. Carlisle picks off a pass, plays it off Smale's stick into the Edmonton zone. Kept in by Scott Arneal as the Oilers attempted to clear it. He took a shot right on. Fuhr made the save, and then it's dumped over the boards and out of play.
Barry Long had to have a few words with his hockey club. He probably tried to tell his players that, listen, we're in a tough situation here in this hockey game, but it is a series. It's not just a one-game show. Let's go out and do the things right. Let's try and get to Grand Fuhr. I thought defensively they played much better in the second period, but not much as far as scoring chances go.
I think this is an important period for the Winnipeg Jets. You know, I don't know if they can come back. We'll have to wait and see. But if they don't, they have to beat the Oilers in a period so they carry over when they get back in their own building.
Back to the line for Allen. Allen tried to move in to get a shot away, and it was poked away by Coffey. Now Messier working against Arneal, 2 number 11s tying each other up in the corner, and Dave Babish plays it out into the center ice area for Wilson. Wilson's pass for Arneal, but Turnbull was ahead of the play offside.
You know, when Howard Chuck was drafted in the first round, the second pick was Scott Arneal, and that's not a bad 1-2 punch when it comes time to draft He's been on the left side, the right side. He said when he got over to the left wing from game 1 of this series, how difficult it was to go in on a goaltender and to shoot. Being a left-handed shot on the left side, he played all year on the right wing, and of course being a right-handed shot is easier on the right side, but he had been left-handed at the time, and it really is different. He said he had to gauge his practices a lot different.
McLean with a quick shot, and Pure got a stick on that one as McLean took that drop pass from Benny Lundholm. In the corner, McLean trying to dig it out. Lundholm is in there as well. Now they get it free to Steen. Steen for McLean, moving in, a shot, save, rebound. McLean trying to dig it out of there as Pure stood his ground. Randy Carlyle touches it, producing an icing call against the Oilers.
Well, it's interesting. The Winnipeg Jets continue to try to put that puck through the 5-hole against Grant Fuhr. He was beat on the first goal by Picard, but look at that, trying to get it between the pads of Grant Fuhr on McLean's shot.
Fuhr has a habit of giving that little hole between the legs to the shooter, and it's tough to hit that hole. And one reason why it's tough is because the shaft of your goal stick goes up through that area. You try to keep the blade of your goal stick on the ice towards your one skate. Like for Grant Fuhr being left-handed, the blade of his stick will be on the right pad on the ice on that side. There you can see it right there. It's towards his right toe. And look where the shaft is, right through the legs. It's tough to hit that hole.
Well, Paul McLean has had 2 excellent scoring opportunities. One when he was left uncovered with just 8 seconds remaining in the first period. And again here in the third as he was allowed to walk in. But both times he was bested by Grant Fuhr. Grant Fuhr, the first star of all 4 playoff games so far. Loose puck, back of the Edmonton net. Lee Fogelin picks it up. Off the boards for Hunter, and Hunter pushes it into the center ice area. McClellan with a long drive high up into the crowd. The face-off at the Winnipeg blue line. Gretzky is out there for the Oilers with Semenko and Curry. Wilson for Winnipeg. He has Turnbull and Arneal as his wingers. Melnick is taken in against the boards by Arneal. The puck comes to Semenko. He goes rink wide for Gretzky, working against Tim Waters. Gretzky gives it to Curry. Curry trying to move into position, drops it back to the line. A flip shot by Gregg is caught and held by Hayward.
Now Semenko gets the puck in his own zone. The first thing he does is pass it. He knows enough that he shouldn't get the puck and try and make the plays himself. Give it to Wayne Gretzky. Let him be the fancy hockey player, and let him, Dave Semenko, that is, just go down, play your position, and pick up the rebounds, cause the havoc in front. You have to give Semenko credit for playing smart.
Well, he's not going to be able to skate as fast as Gretzky and Curry, so that puck can move a lot faster than a guy can skate with it. So it's heads-up play by Dave.
Wilson against Gretzky in the face-off circle to Hayward's left. Puck is kept in at the point by Melnick. Gretzky has it behind the net. He was looking for Curry cruising into the slot. It hopped away from him and all the way down the ice. Now it's Tim Waters in the center ice area. Off the boards for Turnbull. Turnbull, rink-wide pass for Babbage. He was unable to pick it up. Arneal has to wait for Babbage to get onside. Didn't wait long enough.
You know, we had talked about the Jets have to really go to the offense this third period. The Oilers will not take chances, but they still will not sit back and try to protect that lead. You know, it's important to still do a certain amount of forechecking.
Mark Messier is playing with a little bit of a hurt during this hockey game. During game 1, he went to hit Tim Waters. He missed him, ran into the boards, and he's playing with what you call a hip pointer. It's a bone bruise, and it is rather painful, but Messier decided to play with it, not let it bother him.
How often when a player has an injury, he always gets hit in the same spot time and time again.
Paul Coffey with 4 points already tonight. Ahead for Anderson. Anderson gets away from Carlyle. Anderson shot, and it went off a body wide. Carlyle pokes it to Picard. Picard dumps it out into the center ice area. Now it's Coffey going back into his own zone. Off the boards for Napier. Rink-wide pass broken up by Carlyle. Carlyle in across the line, dumped it in front, but Thomas Steen was tied up.
Now, when you're down 4-1, you have to take chances. Carlyle just did. If he hadn't gotten that puck, it was a 2-man breakaway.
Here's a 2-on-1 break. Messier with Mark Napier. He scores!
All right, John, here's always the the topic of discussion on a 2-on-1. Who gets the shooter? Of course, the pinch in on the play. Carlisle has to take chances. Results in a 2-on-1. Now, we've always said that the defensemen play in the middle. The goaltender takes the shooter.
I'll tell you, Picard played it perfectly. Hayward didn't. Hayward's a little rusty. I think if he was sharp and had not been injured and missed a couple of games, he would have been using the forecheck on that play, and or the poke check. He would have went right after Messier and broken the play up. Messier made a good play by faking the pass, and that froze the goaltender Hayward, and Messier put it in open side.
Now here's Krushelnyski moving in. A shot saved by Hayward. And gentlemen, Paul Coffey, his 5th point of the hockey game. He and Anderson draw assists on Messier's goal.
Okay, now let's watch this goal again. Watch the defenseman Picard. He's going to take away the pass. So Messier's got to go and shoot it. He fakes it right there, and then he simply goes around Hayward. Now, the poke check was not handled well by the goaltender Hayward, and I think if you talk to Hayward after, he would probably feel that would have been the play.
And John, from a goalie's position, he knows that the defenseman is going to take away the pass.
Right.
The puck carrier is the goaltender's responsibility.
That's absolutely right.
And that 5th point by Coffey equals an NHL record for most points in a playoff game by a defenseman. Dennis Potvin had 5 points against the Oilers back on April 17th, 1981. Bob Daly of Philadelphia and Eddie Bush of the Detroit Red Wings are the others with 5 points in one game. Loose puck at the side of the net. Dumped up along the boards. Bogelin kept it in, fired it to the corner, and Wilson goes around to the other side with it for Babbitt. Dave Babbitt for Winnipeg. To Ron Wilson. Wilson tried to feed it into the slot, but Arneal could not catch up with the play.
So on the scouting reports on the Winnipeg Jets, where when they come up the ice, they like to go up the center ice area, up that center. The Edmonton Oilers have shut that right down. Every time that the Jets come up, they're forced to the outside, and it's really put a dent in the Winnipeg offensive plans.
Well, when we were talking with Mark Messier this morning after the morning skate, he said the Oilers would be flying tonight, and I'd have to concur from what we've seen in this hockey game. Now it's Hunter. Trying to get set for a shot, forced to the boards by Tim Waters. It goes loose and is brought out now by Paul McLean. McLean has it poked away at the line. Almost got it free to Lundholm. He was unable to control it, and Edmonton comes back. It's McClellan dropping it for Willie Lindstrom in front to Hunter, and he steered it to the goal mouth as Hayward kicked it to the board. Now McClellan and Carlisle tie it up back of the net for a face-off.
I wasn't sure about this whole 5-minute date thing, but I feel like we have a connection.
I feel it too.
Maybe we should go on a real date.
I don't know about that.
Well, why?
It would upset my fiance, probably.
You're not single.
Oh no, I'm just here for the Bud Light. What am I supposed to say? Hi, honey, I'm dating Amy. Not cool.
Refreshingly smooth. This calls for a Bud Light.
It's her. Hey, sweetie.
Take the risk. Feel the speed. Live the dream.
Born to race.
Seiko Sportura. Born to race. Times to 1/100th of a second. Because every fraction makes a difference.
Lay's ketchup chips now have more great ketchup taste than ever.
Lay's good Put your smile on.
.11:30 is the time left in the third period. 5-1. Edmonton leads. Babbage with a shot. It went wide. At the other point, the Card flipped it into the corner, but then it's cleared by Edmonton. Willie Lindstrom working against Babbage. Lindstrom waiting for his teammates to catch up. Finally, it's poked away by Babbage to the center ice area. Thomas Steen now has it for Winnipeg with Paul McLean. Steen lost control of it. Waters trying to poke it in there, but it's brought out by Edmonton. Willie Lindstrom again against Babbage. Lost control of it. Lundholm dumps it ahead to Steen. Steen working in, drops it back to the line. Nobody in position, and Paul Coffey has it for the Edmonton Oilers off the boards into center ice.
On those last two offensive tries for Winnipeg, McCullum got back and broke them both up. He is much quicker skating and doing a job out there tonight.
Thomas Steen trying to get it back to the line. Finally, it comes to Carlisle. A long shot knocked down by Paul Coffey. Throws it to the corner, then dumps it into the center ice area. Brought in by Waters, and back for it goes Kevin Lowe.
The other thing the Oilers have to enjoy during this hockey game is the fact that they're not getting bumped and hit and grinded. Everything they're doing, they're not having to pay a price to get the job done at all, and that might be tough as far as Winnipeg goes as this series progresses. Winnipeg, even though they're down, they have to make Paul Coffey, Messier, all these players pay a price for destroying them in this game.
Well, they're playing their game, the game they want to play.
Right.
Smale goes to the corner, tied up there by Carroll, and it's brought out by Fogelin. Hayward plays it in the corner for Babbage. Babbage loses it, and it was almost centered with Randy Carlisle picking it off. Now Doug Smale breaks down the left side. Long shot, and Fuhr handles that one and then trips the puck to the corner board. Billy Carroll seeing a lot of ice time tonight. Brings it out for Edmonton, shoots it down in and goes for a change. Babbage sends Semenko flying as the puck is deflected up over the glass and out of play. 9:10 the time left in the third. 5-1, the Oilers leading the Jets. Game 3 in Winnipeg on Tuesday night. Game 4 on Thursday. Into the corner, Ellett tries to poke it free. Curry comes up with it for Gretzky. Gretzky looking to get it back to the line. Now it's poked away, and here's a chance for Ron Wilson. Wilson breaking in, saved by Fuhr. Gretzky brings it back for Edmonton. Loses it at the line, gets it again, brings it in. Finally, he's taken in against the boards, but the puck comes back to Paul Coffey. He takes a long flip shot that Hayward handles easily.
On the second, and Wilson had that breakaway. Grant Fuhr skated 10 feet out of his net, parked himself, and got set to make the play. Now, last night, or 2 nights ago in the first game, Lundholm scored on a breakaway. Fuhr was way out too far. This time he played it absolutely perfectly.
Napier with a shot high over the glass. 8:13 is the time left in the third.
Well, the fans certainly appreciated the fine work of Grant Fuhr on that save. Now, Wilson got the puck. Fuhr just parked himself a good 10 or 12 feet. Now he starts moving back with him. He gets back in time. Wilson shot the puck, and Fuhr was still 2 or 3 feet above that goal crease. He had no place to put it. Look at the quickness again of Grant Fuhr. Great save.
That's the thing that really amazes me, how quickly Grant Fuhr can move. Throw that leg out and that glove.
Boy, that glove hand of his is unbelievable. Some people call it a radar gun. It just doesn't miss too much.
Quick shot from the faceoff by Anderson. Back to the point. Anderson gets it again. Another drive through traffic. Knocked down in front. And finally it's dumped down the ice.
The Jets haven't used Taglianetti very much at all since that first period, since the McClellan goal. He's been sitting on the bench. Gary, very strange to see a hockey team has 8 defensemen on their club right now, and they're all left-handed shots. Not one right-handed shooter. That's a little different, isn't it?
Picard with a shot is gloved by Fuhr.
course, John Ferguson is wondering what do we have to do to turn this around, and home ice certainly makes quite a difference, and we understand that both games are sold out in Winnipeg, and I'm sure the fans will give them quite a welcome back, and you're going to see a difference with Jet Hockey Club.
That certainly helps. Now, Fergie's also mentioned about a Swedish player by the name of Nilsson that belongs to their hockey club that is playing in that World Tournament right now. And if they do release him from that World Tournament, Fergie's thinking about calling him right to Winnipeg for the playoffs. This Nilsson plays center, left wing, or right wing, so he is a forward, and that's what John Ferguson is looking for.
However, the Jets would have to stay alive beyond Thursday night, I would think, for Peter Nilsson to get into the lineup, a draft choice of a couple of years ago. In the center ice area, McClelland is taken in against the boards by Jim Kite, his first appearance of this third period. Tim Waters knocked off the puck. Boschman following up on the play, brings it out, and takes a long shot that Fuhr leads back at the net for Kevin Lowe.
You notice how Fogelin just screened off Smales so that Lowe could get good control of that puck. You know, that old pick play, and it worked perfectly. Brought in by McClelland. Now Winnipeg to the attack, but a two-line pass. Waters to Doug Smales.
The players skating for their respective line changes. McClelland and Nill had a little bit of a tiff. It started when Nill tried to give McClelland a hip check at the Winnipeg blue line. And McClelland, of course, has that one problem knee. Didn't like the idea of getting clipped like that. And they skated down the ice to the other end and tried some other things. Watch this. See the little hip check coming through on McClelland? McClelland tries to get back at him with a stick. He misses. Then they came down the ice, glared at each other, and had a few final words.
Well, we haven't seen any hits whatsoever in this series, both games.
One hit a little earlier in this period when Babbage did send Semenko flying. But that really is about the only body check of any consequence that we have seen.
Big Dave Semenko, you know, when he did get hit by Babbage on that play, I think Semenko was reaching for the puck, and that's what knocked him off balance a bit. Watch him reach in, see how he's reaching for the puck, and he was off balance just a tad, but that's the job of Babbage. He's so darn strong, he might even be stronger than Semenko hit the guy.
Show me one hit and call me a liar, eh? I don't believe it.
We're all ganging up on you tonight, Gary.
You're just surrounded up here.
Into the center ice area, Turnbull. He has Arneal with him. Arneal couldn't get a stick on it, and then he's sent flying by Dave Semenko. Now Turnbull and Semenko.
You know, I was talking about a person making a play. You have to pay a price sometimes. Well, this time Dave Semenko made the other player pay the price when they had that scoring opportunity. As Semenko got back to break up the 2-on-1 play as Greg had been trapped.
See that goal? Then he should have his ref shirt taken away. Hey! Hi! I'm allowed to park here, as per the signage. Oh.
The new rear view camera dramatically improves visibility while backing up. You can install the camera yourself, and the LCD monitor mounts conveniently inside. Safety starts at Canadian Tire.
The truck's so big.
Hey, where'd this come from?
Well, Gary, it came from a dream that started high up in the Rocky Mountains. It came from a belief that beer could be made to taste colder, smoother. And while Coors Light is brewed around the world, it's still the same brewing tradition that's cherished in the hearts and minds of men today.
I'm just gonna head back down.
Okay.
Ice Cold Coors Light, the silver bullet.
Talent is going on tour this winter across Canada with special guests Rise Against, Anti-Flag, and Monine. From January 18th to February 8th, these four bands will heat up the Canadian winter as they lay waste to arenas from Victoria to Quebec City. Log on to BillyTalent.com or RiseAgainst.com for more details. The new albums from Billy Talent and Rise Against are available now.
Semenko gets the elbowing penalty. Gregg had been trapped. It was a 2-on-1 play, and Semenko hustled back as quickly as he could. Now he slashes first right there to break it up, and then thump. He sends the elbow right into the neck of Scott Arniel.
But you notice when the Jets get chances, they still are not able to execute a good pass. That one was behind Arniel.
Thomas Steen goes back to the net for Benny Lundholm. Back to Steen. Steen trying to move out. Gets it to Carlisle. A shot. The save. Rebound. They score. Lundholm to Steen, and Steen put it in.
Well, one of the few times that the Winnipeg Jets have been able to capitalize on a rebound. On the power play, Grant Fuhr makes an excellent save, and you're going to see the Jets around converging on that net. It looked like Melnick had an opportunity. It slipped right through his legs. He was fishing for that puck. And the Jets are jolly on the spot to corral that rebound, and Steen on the backhand puts it down. And I guess that's the best way to beat Grant Fuhr when he's on his back.
Second goal of the playoffs for Thomas Steen. And it's a 5-2 hockey game. Power play tally for Winnipeg. Carlisle and Lundholm drawing assists. And now the Winnipeg Jets break out. Lundholm with Carlisle catching up in the play. A shot, and it goes high. Steen picks it up off the boards for Lundholm. Lundholm trying to get it back to Steen, broken up, and Gretzky dumps it out for Jari Kurri. Back to Gretzky. Gretzky couldn't quite get set. Still controls it as he gets away from Picard. Gretzky still moving around with that puck. The Jets unable to tie him up. Finally, they succeed, knocking him down, and it's brought out now by Picard. Picard across the line, takes the shot, gloved and held by Grant Fuhr.
So the official on that last goal was Steen, his second from Carlisle and Lundholm. Wayne Gretzky was all tied up finally by Laurie Boschman on that last rush for the Edmonton Oilers. And the key there was Gretzky had nowhere to pass the puck because Winnipeg were doing their job in their own zone. Kurri was being tackled near the net. You have to play well defensively away from Wayne Gretzky when Wayne Gretzky has the puck, because he can pass the thing backwards, sideways, blind. He just gets the job done.
From the face-off, the puck is taken by Pat Hughes. Hughes was looking for Carroll in the center ice area, broken up by Waters. 5:05 is the time left here in the third. 5-2 to score. The Edmonton Oilers leading the Winnipeg Jets, and looking very much as though they will take a 2-0 lead in games in this series to Winnipeg.
Well, John Muckler had mentioned that if the Oilers get in front, they will utilize 4 lines, and that's exactly what is happening now. The Oilers are using every single player on their bench.
Good hit behind the play as Jim Kite stepped into Pat Hughes just inside that Edmonton blue line. Now Kevin Lowe feeds it ahead for Carroll. Carroll off the boards, racing back after it is Jim Kite. As he touches it, icing is called against Edmonton, and now Hughes and Kite, I'm sure as a result of that last hit, do a little jawing in the corner, but nothing develops.
That's exactly right. Kite, getting one of his few shifts during the game, took advantage of it and used the body as he thumped Pat Hughes as Hughes was trying to come out of his own zone. Right there you can see Kite go up at him. Kite's kind of an interesting guy. He's involved with antique arts, a lot of different little things away from the rink. Doesn't sit around and just think about hockey. A lot of those tough guys around the league are interesting type of people. Ben Wilson, for instance, he's into the opera, into Shakespeare.
And you and I were interested in comics.
And still are.
And still are, huh?
Batman, etc., etc.
4:25 is the time left in the game. Back to the line, Ellett with a shot. That hit a player in front as Turnbull was tied up by McClellan. Now the Oilers come back. Messier's pass intended for Hunter, broken up. Hunter got it again in the center ice area, shooting it down into the Winnipeg zone. Willie Lindstrom trying to center it, knocked down by Babbage. 4:02 left here in the third. It's 5-2. The Oilers leading the Jets. The Oilers won Game 1 on Thursday night by a 4-2 score. Game 3 in Winnipeg on Tuesday, and we'll have it for you on Hockey Night in Canada. Allen takes McClellan in against the boards. Hunter comes in to try and feed it back at the net. Succeeds for Lindstrom. Lindstrom trying to get it out front, and it's held at the side of the net.
A secret recipe handed down for centuries. Drambuie and soda. The spirit lives on.
America's favorite home gym is more affordable than ever. Now you can get the Bowflex machine of your dreams for 0 down and low monthly payments. No matter what your fitness goals, there's a Bowflex home gym for you. Call the number on your screen for a free DVD and check it out. Bowflex Power Rod technology delivers results. Powerful arms, defined legs, a stronger chest, and a toned, sexy core. And for 0 down and low monthly payments, you can see real results in just 6 weeks. All it takes is one simple workout, 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, to get into the best shape of your life. Bowflex home gyms are built so well, they come standard with an unrivaled warranty. And so effective, they come with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call us for a free DVD or visit us online to find out how to get your Bowflex home gym today.
What would happen if we took a trip and only made left turns?
Make a left! We've made the left!
Who would we meet? Where would we find ourselves?
Left turn ahead.
And just how far would we go?
Third row, too slow!
Tell better stories in the 266 horsepower, 7-passenger Nissan Pathfinder.
Arneal and McClellan draw roughing penalties as a result of that altercation at 16:22. Carlisle off the boards to the center ice area. Dumped back in. Now it's Picard for Carlisle to Steen. Steen trying to move into position, loses control, a penalty coming up against the Edmonton Oilers.
Now some good skating by Steen. They drew that penalty, and Mark Messier got the stick in there and hauls him down. An opportunity here in a 4-on-3 situation, power play, Winnipeg Jets. They did score in their last opportunity.
The Swedish player Steen got over the blue line, cuts into the middle like a lot of European people do, and watch him just get tripped as Messier got the feet out from underneath him.
Again, as we've seen a lot in the series, how the defensemen continue to back in. Very rarely have we seen defense challenge at that blue line and really try to break up the plays of that blue line. That's where it should be taking place.
Gary, you can see a little frustration on Messier's face. I think the Oilers have really taken pride in their hockey club and the fact that they haven't given up many goals. Only 9 goals against going into this hockey game in the 4 prior games. Really trying to cut that one department right down, the goals against department. They've done a super job of it, but this puts pressure on their club again with just 3:11 left. Gives Winnipeg a great chance.
You know, when you talk to people here in Edmonton, they figure that every game should be won by the Oilers 8-1, 9-1, but they have to remember that the teams are getting better. The LA Kings are a good hockey club. The Winnipeg Jets are an excellent hockey club.
It's getting frustrating to a lot of the players. People like Coffey and Gretzky, they keep having to answer those types of questions. Why didn't you guys score more goals? You're only beating these teams by 1 or 2 goals. All they're doing is winning. There's only 3 teams undefeated in the playoffs.
Randy Carlisle across the line. The Jets with the man advantage for Babbage. Babbage plays it around the boards for Thomas Steen. Back to the point to Carlisle. Over to the other side for Babbage. Babbage looking for Steen breaking in, and it's intercepted by Huddy for Paul Coffey. And Coffey fires it back to his own line for Yari Curry, who dumps it down the ice. 2:18 remaining in the game. 104 in the Jets' man advantage. As Boschman shoots it in, Doug Smale racing in from the point to the corner, trying to tie it up. Now it's dug loose. Back to the line for Babbage. Babbage with a weak shot, gets it again, takes another shot, knocked down and brought out to center ice by Curry. He shoots it into the Winnipeg zone, and Randy Gregg races in back of the Winnipeg net. Randy Gregg gets it out front for Hunter, and Hunter is tied up just at the last minute. Now the Jets bring it out, led by Smale. And it's offside at the Edmonton line.
Well, there's Smale. He just stopped skating. He slowed right down there. All he had to do was keep going. It was a 2-on-1 with Laurie Boschman going down that right side.
Just 25 seconds remaining in the penalty to Mark Messier. Scott Arneal and Kevin McClellan just stepping out of the penalty box. So it's 5 skaters against 4. The advantage to the Winnipeg Jets, 5-2 the score with 1:36 left in the game.
Now, this hasn't been a bad unit here with Wilson and Arneal and Turnbull playing on a line together. Of course, playing one forward short, very long, had to do some juggling throughout this game.
Winnipeg Jets with this man advantage, not had a shot on goaltender Grant Fuhr. And it doesn't appear as though they will get one. Oh, yes, they will. Wilson hit the post as he intercepted that pass, had Fuhr out of position, and then hit the post.
Well, Charlie Huddy decided to throw one right across the middle, and Wilson was jolly on the spot.
Napier's shot steered by Hayward to the corner as we move into the final minute. Ron Wilson with 2 great scoring opportunities in the third period for Winnipeg. Foiled once by Grant Fuhr and hitting the post the other time. Now it's dumped into the center ice area. Krushelnyski in across the line. He has Coffey cruising through that slot. Couldn't get the puck to him. It goes to the boards. Boschman trying to tie it up there, and he succeeds in doing so with 27 seconds left in the third.
And there's Wilson shaking his head, can't believe it. Had Grant Fuhr beaten, and I wrap it off the goalpost. But those giveaways, so very costly, except when the puck gets in the way of the goalpost, as was the case. And you see Paul Coffey, how to go, Grant. That's the way to take that angle away from him. You know, goaltenders will tell you so often, Don, that sometimes that goalpost is your best friend. So the series will resume in Winnipeg. The Edmonton Oilers will win both games here in Northland Coliseum.
Game 3 on Tuesday in Winnipeg, Game 4 on Thursday night in Winnipeg, and both games will be seen on Hockey Night in Canada. Face-off to the left of Brian Hayward. 5 goals by the Oilers represents their biggest scoring spree of the playoffs. Tight. Up along the boards, Hughes managed to keep it in and directed a shot that hit the side of the net. Now Kite goes into the corner, fighting for that puck. Bumps again with Hughes, gets it to Nil. Nil is unable to move it out. Over to Semenko. Semenko, quick shot. That hit Babbage as the fans at Northlands Coliseum begin the countdown. Hughes with a shot just as the siren sounds to end the hockey game.
Well, there's the coaching staff. Glenn Sather, John Muckler preparing their team so well. Yes, they are playing much better defensively. The idea is to cut down the scoring chances. And when the Jets do get a chance, there's the guy, Grant Fuhr, that comes up with a save.
So the Edmonton Oilers take a 2-0 lead. The final score, Edmonton 5, Winnipeg 2.
Trailing the series 2-0, the Jets were in deep trouble as the series shifted to the Winnipeg Arena. During the regular season, the Jets had gone 1-3 and allowed an average of 4.5 goals per game on home ice against those Oilers. The Jets could look forward to initiating the Oilers to the new tradition in Winnipeg, the whiteout. Thanks for watching Vintage Games here on the NHL Network. We'll see you again next time.